Hello, thanks for joining me today. I have, if you're doing the replay, I've got a lot of equipment to choose from. Choice is yours. I have a yoga block that I'm going to use, but if you have like a med ball or something, you might want to use that instead of your yoga block. Something just that you can, solid, something that you can squeeze, and something with a little bit of space between it. So if you roll up a large, something with some good amount of space. So I'm using the yoga block in this form for today. You could use a foam roller as well for that. If we get to some areas, we might use the foam roller or something similar to a foam roller, something where we can, again, where it's a little bit harder of a surface, where we can kind of lean on and stretch. And then also, definitely you're going to want, for today, I use a lacrosse ball, but if you have something like a tennis ball or a baseball or something like that, that would really be great for one of the movements today. Today, sorry I didn't mention before, we are going to attack the lower back. So if you suffer from lower back pain, today is definitely going to be one of the series that you might want to actually try and do and see if this is going to help you. Even if you aren't suffering from it right now, it might be something it's still going to be good to do for prevention in the future. So we're just going to say hi to whoever is joining us this morning for the live video. And you're going to want a chair. So let me get closer. Whoever's with me, please comment. Let me know you're here. And then I will explain what we're gonna do today. We're just gonna give like a minute or two. I started the video just slightly early to kind of tell the replay what was gonna happen before you guys got on. And then I can tell you guys. So if you're on the replay, you're gonna skip ahead until whatever above says. Which I'll probably have to comment that later. All right, who's with me? Let me see if I have to swipe something around here. Well, it's not telling me. All right, well, whoever's with me, thank you for joining. We're going to today do our lower back. So we're gonna attack our lower back, see if you do have lower back pain, or if you've had lower back pain in the past, or even if you just have tightness, anything of that sort we're going to work on today. So I'm going to use a chair. I'm going to use something with some width, so that's like a med ball or a tennis ball or soccer ball, not tennis ball, soccer ball, something a little bit larger. I'm using a yoga block, or you could even use a foam roller, something that you can, press into without it moving too much, that has a little bit of space. And you might want something like a foam roller for later, and then either a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball. If you don't have one of these, this is one of my absolute favorite mobility tools, like ever. This is like anywhere I go, anywhere I travel, I always bring this. This is amazing for pretty much anything. So if you have, like I said, a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, or like a baseball or something like that, where you can get trigger points, once that presses in, it really feels like a knuckle or two is pressing into those muscles, which is great for what we're doing. So again, like I said, we're talking about the lower back. And if you have lower back pain in the past or not in the past, we want a chair as well. So if you've had lower back pain in the past or not, I'm sitting for a reason. Because when we sit, we kind of are trying to find that spinal stability. And sometimes it can be hard if we're trying to do that with just our upper body, but we really have to consider that a lot of our lower back pain can come from and is attached to our hips and our femur. So we have femur, which is our thighs, our hamstrings, other way around, thighs, hamstrings are around that femur bone, and that femur bone and how it is in a relation and in our hips also helps dictate how we're holding and stabilizing that lower back. So if we are in this anterior tilt or posterior tilt, depending on where we're kind of just relaxing, could contribute over time with how our lower back is responding. So when we stand up, we want to make sure you know, for me, I relax my hips and I have this tilt. I'm exaggerating here, but I have this tilt. But so that means my femur is relaxed and it's not creating so this is the top of the femur into the hips. It's not creating this torque where I'm driving and screwing my hips, my feet into the ground, and opening up my hips forward. And kind of, if you can see by my knees, I don't know if the lighting's okay, but as soon as I bring those hips forward, the knees slightly go out and I get some, you know, it just all affects. Everything affects one another. So as soon as I do that, I bring my hips forward and now I'm in a better alignment from, like I've talked about in pretty much every video, whether it's workout or anything, we kind of want to stack everything over each other for better balance. So stacking your shoulder, hip, knee, feet, you know, everything is stacked. Even if we're overhead, we're stacking it. We want to make sure that we have this pelvic awareness to help protect that lower back. So whether we're in a workout or not, it's always good to have practice of being aware of this pelvic, you know, position. So working on that lower abdominal, but even just in our seating position, I'm going to stop talking in a minute, but seating position, you know, making sure that we're not getting too relaxed in those, our legs by engaging those. Even if I do the same thing I did while I was standing up by twisting my hips, opening up my femur. Even if I did that, pressing my feet down, opening up my femur, I already get into a, you know, squeezing my glutes, get into a better posture position for seating. It's what we do repetitively that's going to help create these patterns that are either going to help us or hurt us. So I'm going to put the chair over here for a second. And we're just going to warm up our spine, because our spine is meant to be, even though we want to protect it and have that stability, it is a flexible thing. We have, you know, vertebrae by vertebrae, and it is supposed to have some good mobility and fluidity in our spine. So we are just going to start with a few rounds of cat and cow. So our hands are going to be, we're going to be in tabletop. Our hands are going to be under our shoulders. Make sure that our shoulder blades in our neutral position are evenly on our back, not pressing out forward, and that our knees are in line with our hips, straight down. You don't see your feet. All right, we're going to use our breath here. We're going to breathe in, drop our belly to the sky, tailbone to this, or drop our belly to the ground, tailbone to the sky, shoulder blades roll back on our back as we breathe in and lift our chin to in front of us, or the front mat. And on your exhale, you're going to tuck that tailbone under, tuck that chin under, and then press hard against the earth. So now having the shoulder blades kind of pressing forward. And then on inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, and feel all of that breathing in to the belly. Exhale, tuck it under. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in. And exhale. One more, breathe in. And exhale. And come back to neutral position. Now when you're here, if you're still feeling tight, you can go side to side, whatever it is that you might need. We're just kind of warming up. If you need to do some hip circles while we're laying, we're just going to roll all the way forward and roll all the way back, kind of just extending each side of the body and go the other way. Do about 2 circles each way. And then we're going to find some stillness on the ground. Feet come back out in front of us. And we're going to lay on our back. Where am I? Okay. This video gets a little bit closer each time. All right, we're going to lay on our back. And we're going to bring our knees up to a 90 degree. Flex our toes to the sky. So we're in this like 90 degrees.
And you might notice if you bring your hands at your lower back, your back come off the ground. We're going to, like I said before, work on that lower pelvic floor. So we are going to press our lower back into the ground, tilt our pelvis. So we're bringing that in, and we're going to keep that lower back down. Hands are going to be on our hip bones. All right, so like I said before, you can take a quick rest, or you can stay there and be comfortable, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like I said about that femur, how we're engaging those hamstrings, even when we're sitting, if you tried it with me, you engage those hamstrings, it kind of helps with your posture already. We're gonna do that same thing even when we're here. So I'm pressing that lower back down, and then I'm going to squeeze my glutes, hamstrings, and I'm going to keep my toes up to the sky. So I want to try and keep this angle between my shin and my lower leg and my upper leg. So I don't want to drop my shin anywhere or my lower leg anywhere, up or down in any of this. So it's really important to try to keep that shape here as we press that lower back down, and we're going to just do a heel drop. So again, keep that shape, keep that lower back down. Slowly, we're going to drop heel and come back up. Squeeze everything in your body here as we drop the other heel, nice and slow, nice and gentle. Keep pressing that lower back down and back to center. Other side, squeeze those hamstrings, keep that pelvis tilted down, press that lower back down. It gets harder as your heel gets closer to the ground, and you're squeezing to pull it back up. Everything is engaged. Keep rotating side to side. We're going to about do 2 more if you've been following with me. And relax. A lot of core work, a lot of lower pelvic work, a lot of hip and balance. Everything's involved here. Maybe not as much balance, but a lot is involved here in that movement. And it's not easy to do if you are doing it right and really pressing that lower back down as hard as you can for the remainder of the time as we do heel drops. And then keeping that angle. A lot of times it gets easier if it might be easier because you drop that shin angle and you go right here. Well, this angle is a lot easier than keeping this 90 degree. Once you've graduated from here, you can extend it out and back in, out and back in. Try those heel drops. But we are going to move on to kind of talk about a lot more than just that. So some of you who may not have like back pain in like currently, or maybe you've had it like playing sports or something, you might actually have back pain because one hip is rotated differently than the other. So if one side of the pelvis is rotated differently than the other, and that's why we might have some different back pain from one side to the other. Oh, sorry. So that's why squatting is important, step-ups are important, and why we do single leg step-ups and single leg squats, or anything that focuses on both unilateral and bilateral sides of the body, is because it helps to reassess and think about how we're really compensating and what can help break down later in life. So if this is something for you, a way to reset that pelvis, and depending on which side, we're just going to do both. So, but this is something you can do anytime, is when you are laying on your back, we're going to go in the same position of this 90 degree. We can relax our head here if you want. You can use a block or a foam roller if you need for your head. We are going to do one hand. So let's do our right hand on our shin, and our left hand is going to be on our thigh. Thigh, shin. And we are going to press our hands into these objects, or into these areas, and these areas are going to press back into our hands. So if you need to sit up, we're just pressing into those opposite sides, and that will help if your pelvis is rotated to kind of help re-rotate it back into something nice and simple and easy, back into position. So we're gonna do this side. You're just gonna hold it for about 5 seconds at a time. Press and rest. Let's do the other side. Right hand to right thigh, left hand to left shin, and we're gonna press into them. Press those legs into those areas and rest. Get my foot for stability. Take a quick deep breath. And we're gonna do it again. Other side. And go, hold, press, press, press. And rest. Other side. Right hand to the thigh, left hand to the shin. And go, press, press, press. And rest. All right. Nice and easy way to kind of help reassess. You might, if you're doing this, you might not even know that your pelvis is tilted, and it might help awaken an area that lets you know that your pelvis is tilted. If not, that's great. We are just going to have our feet down, stay in this position real quick, and just do a quick little spinal twist. Just drop the knees to one side. You can extend your arms out wide. Come back to center. Drop them the other side. Keep your shoulders down. You can look the other way. Just doing a little quick reset here. One more. And then to help reset those that pelvis and the rotation after you've done something like that is where we want to take that object, like the med ball or the yoga block or the med ball. We're just going to put that between our knees, something that we can squeeze, and it's not going to, that has a little bit of space between our knees. And then we're just going to squeeze our knees into this object as hard as we can for 5 seconds. So squeeze and relax. All right. We're going to do it again. Squeeze and relax. Just to kind of help reset that spine if you need it at all. All right. Doing good so far, I hope. Don't know who's on. So when we're done this, I would appreciate, if you can, if it's working, just comment, let me know who's all here. Oh, we got a couple people here. I think this might be our last movement. We'll see what else we gotta get through. But we're going to use the lacrosse ball now. Sorry for my crazy hair, morning hair. We're gonna use the lacrosse ball and we're gonna use the chair. We're gonna place the lacrosse ball. So I want you to kind of put your hand on your hip, and on your back, your hip. I want you to find, it's kind of like your upper glute, but your hip, I kind of made a little drawing for my own notes. But so if this is our spine, our one side of our hip kind of has this arc at the top. And then our lower back starts on the one side, and then this is our glute muscle, right? We're going to take this lacrosse ball, and we're going to work our way out from and around the inner part. So it's going to be on that upper glute, on the inside of this hip bone. So we're not actually doing it on this lower back. We're going to do it on our upper glutes, and we're going to follow that hip bone. It's kind of around the waistband if you have that. So that is where you kind of want to use the lacrosse ball. And we're going to involve the chair as well. I know we're moving really fast through things, but just want to make sure we get to this one. So we might go over a little bit of time today. And as we do this, we are again going to be on our back. Our knees are going to be on our chair, and we're going to put this lacrosse ball, again, like I said, the starting one, on the upper glute, closest to the spine, and we're going to work our way in that arc out to our side body. And we're just going to make sure, so let's place it there, find your spot. might feel uncomfortable. Your pelvis as a whole might be off the ground, and that's okay. We want to make sure that we're keeping our hips square. So like your left hip, if you're on the right side. If the ball's on the right side, your left hip might drop to the ground. Try to square it up. Press your heels into this chair or object or couch, whatever you have your feet on, to kind of help square you up and also help with, you know, if I lift my hips up, I'm off the ground because I'm pressing my heels into this chair. But if I relax, it can kind of help with how much pressure I'm putting down into this lacrosse ball. As always, we want to reset and straighten that spine. So my hamstrings, my glutes my hamstrings are engaged, and I'm just going to keep my let me take this, my rib cage down. So I'm going to support my head for this, and I'm just going to, keeping my hips square to each other, smash into this lacrosse ball by moving and rotating side to side, left to right. I'm kind of windshield wipering my knees, but keeping my heels in the same position. And I'm just rotating with my whole body. All right, we're just smashing into that area. Again, you can dictate how much pressure you allow into that lacrosse ball. We're going to take that lacrosse ball, and again, we're going to move it out into that arc. So find just a little bit, maybe just into the next position of where you are. Maybe you're finding some good positions that you have not felt before. Oh my gosh. And again, keep that pelvis tilted up, down a little bit, so it's like that lower back's pressing into the ground. And we're going to just smash into our glute into this lacrosse ball by going side to side. Lacrosse ball, tennis ball, whatever you kind of have. And back to center. Move it out slightly. Now we should be, you know, kind of in the middle of that hip. So we should be at the top part of that hip arc. So again, this is at the top part of our glute. The hamstrings are engaged. My lower abdominals are engaged as I rotate side to side. And for here, I can press a little bit deeper into there. So I'm going to take some pressure off of my heel to allow the pressure to go down, and moving that lacrosse ball out to the side again by like an inch or two. Now for here, since I'm going on the outside and I might need some more pressure, I'm going to shift more to the right onto that ball so it's not going to fall away, as I again still rotate side to side. I feel like my chair is a little high for me. But we're just exploring the area with this lacrosse ball. Let's move it out one more. And again, I'm rotating a little bit more to my side so I can press that lacrosse ball in. We're getting towards the outer part of our hip, which you might get closer to that IT band area, which goes down the leg, which is also affected by everything we're doing and talking about. So again, just smashing it in. Small little rotating back and forth, and then come on out. Other side. Again, starting closest to the spine, getting at that top of the glute muscle, at the top arc of that pelvis. So I'm lifting my hips up, placing it down. It's kind of close to our tailbone. Hopefully you guys are able to do this with me, and I don't look like a weirdo by myself. All right, so staying here might be pretty painful. That's okay. It's not supposed to be easy. Again, press your heels into the ground, squeeze your glutes, and engage that lower abdominal to dictate how much pressure goes down, and we're just rotating back and forth. And these are just smaller areas. If you're used to just foam rolling your glutes, you might miss areas like this, but we directly have areas of our lower back, of our spine, like, you know, anything that's holding and stabilizing that spine that's connected to our femurs. You know, it's all of this in our front, you know, our hip flexors, like you feel tighten those. We're gonna move that ball over just a little bit more. But everything, you know, there are muscles that directly connect each other. So if we're not being careful and doing this often, especially if you already have lower back pain, keep rotating back and forth. If you already have lower back pain, you have to do regular maintenance. There is, like, if you have back pain once, you always have to kind of do regular maintenance for like ever, because you're trying to retrain that pelvis and femur and spine relation. All right, moving it out to, should be at the top part of that hip bone for the lacrosse ball. But if you've ever had back pain, I forgot what I was saying, where I stopped, but you just kind of always have to do it because we're trying to reset and create new muscle memory and posture and positions. Whew. You can even just move just that one leg if you want. Keep the other leg steady. So I'm moving just my left leg, left and right. All right, we're going on the outside part position of this hip. And just rotating again back and forth. We're almost done here. We'll finish on this one. If you want to take any pauses on any positions, you're welcome to. Sorry, I'm sure you did that already though. But always take deep breaths. If you have anything really painful, deep breath in and out. Hopefully it's a good kind of pain though. All right, we're on our outside part of the hip. I'm rotating, my chair's a little rotated here, to put that position on that lacrosse ball. And I'm just going to rotate back and forth, maybe just that leg on this. And I think I found a really good spot for me. So deep breaths. All right. Gently bring that lacrosse ball out. You can move away from the chair or whatever works for you. Move away from that couch. And we're just going to do some spinal twists here. So extend our arms long. Just to reset, we're just going to, knees are bent, feet on the floor, drop them one way, and then drop them, the knees the other way. To the other side. Just to reset, you can open up that front back knee or the back hip, that top hip. And bring our knees in for a quick knee hug. Knees to their chest. Whatever else you might need to do. Don't rock up like I just did. Move to the side, press yourself up, especially if you do have lower back issues. And that today is going to conclude part one of a lower back series of different things you can do. So we are exploring things in this movement improvement type of thing of just different areas and different issues that we might have to, and different ways that we can attack it. So if you like one thing and it really helps you, that's, something you can do regularly. If there are other things that, don't really work for you, that's fine. You don't have to do them often, but this is to kind of help anyone who's on to kind of explore what works for them or what doesn't work for them. So hopefully something works for you guys and you felt anything, a difference or it helped. All right, I'm going to stop. There's a couple people on. Hi. My thing is lagging, so it doesn't tell me who's on, but Tracy's on, so hello. That just told me now after this whole class. So just make sure you guys comment if you haven't already. I guess I can't tell from this. And I hope you guys have a good one. If you have any comments or different things, if you want to just even let me know that something worked or didn't work or helped, that's always great feedback so I can know how best to kind of do these moving forward. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Thanks, Tracy. Oh, thanks, Jean. Very helpful. I'm so glad. I'm glad this really helps you. Let me know.
Jean, how this maybe worked, or what was your favorite one, or what maybe crossed over from what your PT's already doing or not. Really curious. All right, see you guys.